All right, Tel. Well, we're just going to have a little chat, really.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know, with all of your knowledge and wisdom of being on the earth for this long, and being an ancient old soul, or Time Lord, as you put it, if you've got anything you'd like to share with the people.
Well, since you said we're going to go on the walk this morning and do this impromptu interview, it's where do I start about? And where do I start about? Because it's about my journey, as it is with all of us. It's about our own individual journeys. I don't know, where do I go? And the one thing I have learned is that one of the best learnings for me was to unlearn everything I'd ever been taught. I found that everything I'd been taught was to keep me under control, and it kept me in fear. And I realised that my parents did it for the best of reasons, because they wanted to keep me safe. So it was always go on. Listen, when I was a kid, we were kicked out of the house and went on our journeys anyway. There was nothing around when I was a kid. You were lucky enough you got a comic to read. Nothing else. No radio, no television, nothing. So.
But you were happy?
Oh yeah, I was a pain in the arse, because I had energy. I was doing this, I was doing that. I was just unbelievable. I couldn't be kept still. And so that was part of my being. Just walking 2 or 3 miles just to see a mate of mine was nothing. That was just a normal thing, really. You know, trying not to get caught in a rainstorm on the way back home, because I'd get a good bollocking if I did. So it was that, because we didn't have a lot of clothes. So you know, the clothes you were wearing, that's what you had. There wasn't a lot else. And so, yeah. So that big thing was that unlearning, and allowing ourselves to go on little adventures, and then gaining little victories, which give us a little bit more courage to go further through another world. Because once you start on this journey, and you get used to it, and realise that so many else of people around us are in fear, one thing and the other. Actually, I don't want to mix with those people anymore, because I do because of work and stuff, but not socially. So
It's not the intention.
I live quite an insular life now, and I love it. I enjoy it. I actually really content with myself.
Hello.
So it was really, hi, how you doing?
Very well, how about you?
Yeah, good, good, thank you. And so it's that thing of, yeah, just like that, talking to strangers off the cuff for no reason whatsoever. Hi, how you doing? They say, and that's great. But
well, you talk about this thing like called tribe, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily have to communicate with them a lot. Just be pleasant and nice to people, and let them feel valued in the world. Really, that's what that's about, I think. And so yeah, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, because I've got 1,000 stories. So.
Well, time by yourself and being insular, and I know that one thing that I'd like you to share with the people is you've walked the Camino at an elder stage of your life on your own many times, and that's obviously a journey of being solitary. And is there anything that you would like to share about the Camino in Spain and your sort of why you did it, maybe?
Oh yeah, well, I was I think 2000. I don't remember. By the way, part of this detachment from stuff is detaching from time as well. And so I'm really a bit fuzzy about time. It's not an age thing. It's not dementia. It's just I can't give a bollock about it. It's time stuff, you know. And diaries, well, no. So back in 2000, I think it's about 12. Don't know. I was in a relationship then, and hello doggy, and it wasn't going well. It was 17 years we've been together, and it was just getting a bit worn, really, I think. Hi.
Hiya.
And so anyway, I got diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they said that it was a pretty aggressive prostate cancer, and I've got to have treatment. So I was given the 3 normal things that when you get cancer, which what is it? I don't know, poison, burn, or stab, really. So I thought, well, I'm not too keen on those. And then I said, well, so what's the prognosis for me? I said, if you have treatment, definitely got 7 years. If you don't have treatment, probably 5. It's pretty aggressive, so it'll grow quickly. So I went home and I thought about it, and I spoke to my partner about it, about what to do, what not to do. Because I've never been one to be bulldozed into anything. And so I thought, hang on a minute, so what do I do? What do I do about it? And then I thought about it, do you know what? What's the difference between 5 and 7? Right? And it ain't a lot, is it? And I've had a good life. I had many adventures anyway, one way or the other. So I thought, okay, bollocks to that, I'll do it my own way. So in 2014, I went off on the Camino Francais. And I walked it, and I never went back home. It just changed my life. I realised that part of my dis-ease was being in a relationship which wasn't working for me. And that was also a good grounding for me, because I realised that most of my pains were because I was dis-eased. I wasn't at ease with life. And so my body was telling me, but I wasn't listening. So I gave up. So I gave up doctors. Didn't do doctors. Don't do doctors. Still don't do doctors. And I live my life, and I meet up with people like yourself.
Yep.
And I live pretty natural life. I go off on my walks and my treks, as well as working and walking on Mother Earth, and do qigong. I do the things that help me to connect with a rhythm and a vibration. And usually on my own, not very seldom with anybody. And I'm really comfortable. I'm really comfortable with that. I'm happy in my body. And of course now, so that was 2012. I was actually diagnosed 2012. Yeah, I was diagnosed. And so I'm 2012, 2019. So I'm, 5 years past my sell-by date. So
And how many times have you walked the Camino at this elder
I'm
stage
just
of
off
your
on my
life?
6th one in a couple of weeks' time.
And how long is it? How long did you take, and what's the mileage?
That'll take me about 5 weeks.
With the backpack on and everything?
With a backpack, it takes about, it's about 500 miles. But then I usually, if I'm up for it, I go on to Finisterre and Muxia afterwards. So it goes up to, with the other bits of walking, probably near 600 miles too.
And any magical moments or tips for anyone, I guess, who's walked the Camino, or just things that you look back and remember from those walks? Obviously there's thousands.
Oh yeah, the great thing about the Camino is I realised is that we walk the Camino like we walk our lives. So if we want to change our lives, change the way we walk through life. And one of my happiest days of my life, full of bliss, was one morning after I'd walked. And you go through stages. You go on the Camino, you go through pain, physical pain, then mental pain, then spiritual pain. But I realised after I got up one morning, I got to this top of this massive hill, almost a mountain. A few of those there, by the way. And I realised I'm so happy. All my pains had just dropped away, and I was in bliss. I was in such a great space. Unbelievable. I mean, really, really, really happy. And so that's what the Camino does for you. It accesses, provided you don't go with headphones and the mobile's on all the time. And if you get rid of the mobile, if you get rid of the headphones, you get rid of the music, you get rid of everything in normal daily life, then you can actually access what's around us and hear, feel and see and taste what's around us. It's there all in front of us with no distraction. Problem with no distraction is you have to get into those bits that are painful because they won't let you go. But there is the growth. In there, in pain is growth. In shit is growth. You know?
Just like the mushrooms.
Yeah, just like the mushrooms, folks. Got to have the mushroom.
And so, talking about pain, you mentioned the relationship that, you deceased and you weren't happy. As an elder, looking to the youth of today, men, obviously, because you're a man, is there anything that you could say to young men, like in terms of harnessing the divine masculine, or anything that you've observed in relationships over the years that you'd I don't know, words of wisdom to the young
Do you
men
know
that
what,
might be
I
lost?
think that's such a difficult subject because it
Mhm.
changes all the time.
Yeah.
It's changed from when I was a kid, was when the man knew what their role was and the woman knew what their role was, so therefore we got into a relationship, you knew what the roles were. And so providing both of you exercised those roles, and in those days it was dad went to work, mum looked after the house and the kids when they came along. That was it, that was the deal really. But of course then that all started to change. And I've seen and experienced all of these changes. Then we came to, I don't know, was it Greer? And burning the bras and women's independence, and that stuff came along. So therefore suddenly here I am now like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm sort of almost feeling emasculated here. What is my role? I wasn't sure what my role was, and also the women thought they knew what their role was, but they weren't sure because actually, now they're becoming in charge, and I don't know what's going there because I'm not a woman, and so I could just go. So I suppose I have to look to my kids and the way they've managed that. And they've managed it really well.
Yeah.
They've managed to be both mother, although in truth, when I think about it now, no, my son up in Scotland, he works, his wife works a bit, but actually, and he does do a lot of the stuff, he does cooking but the kids do hiking and swimming and jumping and everything physical, as well as the educational stuff. And my son tends to do that, and his wife tends to do most of the shopping. Yeah, so they've sort of almost reverted to what I was brought up with.
Yeah.
Far better than me. I want to add.
Bless you.
They doing such a great job, with those kids, and so they've managed that. But it seems to be slipping slightly back to the way it was,
Yep.
where
I see that too.
the
Some places.
feminine takes on the feminine, and so to advise it, oh man, I wouldn't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know where you, and the other thing nowadays is of course that with kids now, there's so much available to them on the internet and stuff. So much. You've got the pool and all that shit going on, and how do they know? That's not what living with someone's all about. That's got nothing to do with life,
And love.
If you want to travel through it and love, it's certainly nothing to do with love. And so I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to say to kids. I'd be better off talking to older people, or people who are going through life trying to change, unlearning.
And isn't that not strange that you feel that there's a gap between and it's not about advising, because we can only sort of inform ourselves and guide ourselves, but the gap between the youth today and the elders is huge.
It's massive. On the other hand, when I do my walks, and it's not just a Camino, when I go on walks, I constantly like to talk with younger people. It's really interesting that they are actually interested in the way I live my life, not the pattern of me living my life. So the way I approach things, the way I can let things go, the non-attachment, if you like, of stuff. And so the allowing of life to unfold in its own way, when it's ready, not when we think it should be unfolding, and allowing it to come towards us, actually enjoying life, not chasing the dollar all the time. Chasing that dollar is an early grave and a painful grave. I don't know anybody who's chased the dollar who's gone into death peacefully, really.
I hear
Other
you.
than the drugs they give them to keep them quiet as they slip in. By the way, when I don't want to put doctors down, because I said I don't do any medicines at all. I think doctors have got the best intentions in life. They're taught by the pharmaceutical industry, and the pharmaceutical industry is there not to keep us well, but to make money. And so that's what they teach people.
Yeah, I hear you. And on that note, Tel, as we sit in this beautiful woods, is there anything that you want to say about what you receive from nature when you're here?
The stillness. Here is stillness. It's just stillness. It's beautiful.
Nice.
And when it's
one,
raining, you get the stillness with that extra little patter of rain. It's beautiful. Like woods. Yeah, I love it.
Love you, Tel. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.